young friends. It's such a pleasure to be here with all you guys. And today I'm going to share briefly my story about this journey, about VegaLyfe and the vegan lifestyle, which I call it a life's gateway. Now my young friends, it's not this that we shouldn't have goals. We should have clear, big, lofty goals for ourselves. And we should work hard towards achieving those. But what is very important about the goals is we should incorporate ourselves, the nature, environment, people, animals, and goals for the entire ecosystem. That becomes very important for all of us. Now, with that message, I started to think and elaborate research more about how can we actually address that and where have we gone wrong in the past. So as I continued to explore more and more, I realized that we have actually started to use the natural resources in the last 30 years more and more because we need more of everything. The population has increased, there are more wants, the needs are ignored, there are so many people who are hungry, there are so many people who are actually not adequately resourceful, and that is actually causing a trouble and kind of a discrimination between the society and between the people. So now that's very important for us to actually get deeper into, at least for me it was. And I got deeper into that and I realized that a lot of people have created history in the past. And there probably is a time for us to actually look at creating a new history. But what about it? What history do we need to create? In the past, if you look at it, nobody had actually thought about women will vote. Nobody had thought about, I'm talking about 100 years from now. You know, it's a long time for you guys to actually imagine. But 100 years from now, there were a lot of social issues. We had not imagined a lot to happen. But today, all of us, we know that women's rights is a very important thing in this world. I can go and vote. There are a lot of things that have changed. We have a lot of rules about nature, about environmental practices. We are talking about the cars being eco-friendly. There is a lot of innovation. We saw great talks in the morning about Ayurveda, health, about a lot of eco-friendly stuff that can be done in life. So there is a lot of thinking which is happening. I came across this organization which is Vegan Society, and they have been talking about and working a lot towards a very important cause which I believe can create a history. Let's together look at this video now that will give you the perspective of what I'm talking about. The video, please. something moves in me. We all have pets. We love our dogs, we love our cats, we love our pets that we just so adore. But yet, that's a fact that a lot of animals are actually going through a lot of cruelty. The day I learned about this video, I started to connect it back to my initial questions about natural resources, about a lot of climatic changes, about how Mother Nature would talk to us. And in my quest to learn more and understand this whole subject, I explored more. And it's interesting, at the same time it's sad as well to actually know a lot of facts about how we are utilizing our resources, how we are doing a lot of deeds which we don't even know. We are innocent about a lot of things. Because in the 20th century, we had a problem about hunger, famine, drought, and we as smart people, and with a good heart to work towards solving the problem, we started to create innovations. We changed seeds, we changed the agricultural practices, we developed new techniques. With that, we were starting to alter, without even knowing that what are we trying to do. The problem there to solve was the problem of hunger, right? With that, there came some kind of a complement from the Industrial Revolution that was already in play for many, many years ago. People started to think about, now that we have more produce, how can we actually start to utilize that to give better products to people? With all good intentions, I would like to believe. There were good intentions that let's have more and more products for people to actually savor. With that, there was again some more processes, some more kind of alterations, some more resources getting used to get more products. In that wake, what started to happen? We started to believe and use animals as a resource too. Factory farming, which is slightly a dark, but also a very important subject for all of us today to know, is something which came into being when people started to get more and more creative, more and more ideas came into mind, and there were more changes. Animals were now starting being used as objects. So what happened? There was a demand of a nice bag, a handbag, and that too of a nice soft skin, which was good looking. So then, animal became an object to feed into that requirement the raw material. Leather. Leather comes from an animal, right? So factory farming was one of the things that was supporting the leather industry, right? Then there was need of milk. Again, you can't have a cow actually think that, my dear friend needs more milk today, so let me produce more. The cow does not have an understanding of that sort. Or maybe Diwali is coming up and we need more sweets, so let's actually start to produce more. No, there has to be an organized way to do that, and I would call it that factory farming is exactly what it became for the cows as well, to get more milk. Similarly, a lot of other industries started to get benefited and became the producers of a lot of stuff coming from the animals. This definitely was impacting the subjects of global warming that I initially mentioned. Factory farming in itself was actually contributing. With that in mind, I actually looked into what are the causes of global warming, and I came to know that there are three main gases: methane, carbon dioxide, and nitrous oxide, which actually lead to global warming. Because these gases get trapped in the Earth's environment, and that causes more heat. Because of that, the climate changes, and a lot of patterns of summers, winters, rainfall, no rainfall, all of these patterns are experienced. We all know about it. We experience it day in and day out, right? So these gases, were actually contributing to it. So what has factory farming got to do with this, right? You would wonder, right? So with that, I started to explore more. With my more research, what I found was these were actually connected. There is a stats that hen or chicken, pigs, the cow, turkey, they all produce the largest amount of methane in the world. Well, I would imagine a turkey calling, well, we fought methane. Who knows, right? But that's a fact. We can take it in good humor, but the fact is that they are adding to more methane. Now, why methane is so harmful and why should we connect it with global warming? Because methane actually is more powerful, 20 times more powerful, to actually retain the heat as compared to carbon dioxide. We all know about carbon dioxide. We talk about planting trees because planting trees allows carbon dioxide to be used and given more oxygen. But here there is another culprit. Let's move on and see what could be a discussion with the animal kingdom now when they actually think about such things. Not just about how they are actually managing their lives, but also how they are actually trying to repel the humans from themselves. Imagine a discussion, we could keep it in good humor, but that's a dark fact as well. I could only chuckle at this humor that three animals having a conversation from the animal kingdom talking about how can we actually make these humans go vegan and not have our meat. Right? So, animals do have their feelings, more importantly. With all of that, let's also explore that when we are actually using these animals for our food, for the leather, are we doing it efficiently? And what are the other kind of issues that we are actually creating around that? Well, a fact says that when we actually use an animal, we don't use it completely. There is some amount of waste out of that. So when we are using, we are actually rearing the chicken, the sheep, the cows. They're grazing on the land. They're eating the grass. So there is a need of land. There is a lot of water which is getting used. There is a lot of grains that they are being fed. Now just imagine all of those grains which are actually going to the chicken or to the cow, and then we have the milk or the meat out of that chicken. We could ourselves consume those grains. We are doing it in a roundabout manner. We are not actually doing it directly. So there is bound to be inefficiencies and a lot of wastage around that. Also, when we look at that, a lot of resources, especially water, grains, and the land power, is actually not getting efficiently utilized because there are so many animals being kept in one room in an unhealthy circumstance, and then there is a lot of antibiotic and a lot of medicines that are being spread on these animals to keep them healthy. That is impacting the environment furthermore. And when they actually go about continuing to live in those unhealthy circumstances, they also get some kind of infections, and that's why we often hear about a lot of flus which are coming about from these animals. When we look at the facts about the kind of wastage that we are creating at animal factory farming, it's about 130 times as compared to the entire human population. So just imagine the entire human population, the waste that our human body produces, the animal farming actually creates 130 times more. Whoa. And that cannot be even recycled. So that's huge. I don't think that's efficient. Then 29% of world's fresh water is actually going into this factory farming. How nice would it be? We face so many problems about water. How nice would it be if all of this water could just come to all of us? We could just live a happy life, don't you think? It would be easier for all of us. This water is actually getting used for the animals who are not using them right. Well, the subjects that I've spoken about, factory farming, using resources, on all of these aspects, if I talk about, it's important to see that factory farming animals, the kind of product that comes to us, if we use less of those or do not buy those, nobody will produce them, or they will be produced much less. So a thing to actually look for is to start thinking about buying products which categorically say not tested on animals or have no cruelty involved, right? Then go the natural way. These are the interactions that we had made in the ecosystem. Go out in the market and look for buying products. It's important to actually look at the labels. Look at what kind of ingredients have gone into that. Go and know your food. When you pick up a product, read the ingredients there. There are certain things which we don't understand. We don't know. Like salt is something you understand, wheat is something you understand, but something like a E2001 you would not understand. Let's Google it and find out what exactly is that. What kind of an impact does that have on our body? And be aware. You are the children who can actually create future for all of us. And it's important that you take all of these things in your hands and actually try and be saviors for yourself, for Mother Earth, and for the animals, most importantly, who cannot actually speak. Thank you very much.